Hey guys, this is Merlini from Merlini Dota. I'm bringing you another episode of Merlini Plays Dota 2, and the hero of choice this time is Vengeful Spirit. And I'm playing in an NEL game. NEL is a league that's kind of a step up from IXDL. It's like a private in-house league where some pro players play, aspiring pros play, and overall the skill level is very, very high. It stands for North American Elite League. I'm sure you can Google more information if you are interested in playing it. And thanks for all the comments from my Invoker video. I'm going to work on my first person commentary while I'm in game, but until then, I will be doing replay commentaries. So this one is a captain's mode game. We have Brewstar on our team, Good Gomdopi, Demon, Febby, and I. And on the other team, we have Monkeys Forever, Double, Warden, Lampo, and Please Don't Pause. And the draft is pretty standard. I'm not going to go too much into this because it isn't a video about Captain's Mode. It's a video about support bench. So let me fast forward a little bit to when the creeps actually spawn. So looking at the lineup already, you always want to try and predict where they're going to lane. I don't remember what my captain said about where we're going to lane, but so it looks like they have what OD solo mid, Visage, an Alchemist probably in the safe lane, Clockwork off lane, and Windrunner probably support. That's what it looks like right now. If you know specific players in the league, then oftentimes you can predict where they're going to go. For example, Warden usually tends to support because he's better at supporting than other people and he's more flexible. Monkeys Forever tends to solo and play the farmer heroes more often, but often you won't have the luxury of knowing the opponents before you play, at least not in matchmaking. So
10 seconds.
oftentimes I play mid. This is one of the few games that I don't. And as soon as the creep spawn, I'm already trying to buy my items, and I'm already leaving my base. I'm like just leaving the base right now, and they're just leaving the base too. So, in the higher tier games, people buy their items very, very quickly, and I want to gain control of their jungle as soon as possible. My goal is to reach this point before they can. If I stand here and I don't see them in this area, then I can slowly creep up to this area. If they're not over here, I keep creeping up. If they're not over here, then I drop my ward. That's exactly what I want to do, and I'm not going to wait for my team because they don't really have a way to catch me if they're just walking. If they're smoked, whatever, I'll probably die, but ideally it would be revealed either here or here if I'm standing over here, and then I can just run and turn tail to my tower. So my team's a little bit slow, they're a little bit more coordinated, but I play some reserve ward over here because the sentry ward over here doesn't actually spot it. This one's probably the most common sentry ward because people like to ward inside here as well as down here, and this ward covers them both. So at the start, I believe I buy chicken and obs like immediately, and it's up to the other teammates to buy sentries because I'm not going to buy all three usually. And I check up here, there's no one standing up there. My teammates like to hide up here. I think this is a really good place to hide because if they're coming down here to try and contest the rune, they won't actually see you, and then you can often harass them. So there's a DD that spawns top. Get a little bit lucky with the rune, and I see nobody on top with my wards. I can actually see a little bit into the lane with this ward too, and I can see the supports are hiding out. So I know that there's not going to be anyone top, and I don't really need to be here to babysit. If they smoke, this is something you kind of have to worry about, but you can't always live in fear. So I'm just coming in here to try and harass him. DD's very effective at harassing him. I can already just whittle away at one of his salves. Unfortunately, I have to use one of my salves to help him out, but I want to get as much lane control as possible versus the OD, because OD does shine in the laning phase, and then I always want to look around, check bottom lane, so I'll see, okay, who's getting farm on bottom, and this is like while I'm just sitting in mid. I'm waiting for my mana to regenerate, I'm waiting for OD to push down the hill, I'm waiting for Viper to harass him down. there's like a couple of things I'm waiting for. And then Monkeys Forever has noticed that no one is top, and I've been trying to mess with him mid, so he is playing like on the lower side of the creep wave, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. So I try to wrap from behind and get a kill, but he's still very aware and is able to dodge another gank. Smoke isn't going to really help me here, because if I smoke, I'm still going to get revealed over here, or over here, or over here, whichever way I come from. He can try and dodge the gank. Ideally, I can like do it right after he astrals, but it's still a pretty low probability gank, and I realize I'm not really getting that much accomplished in the mid lane. And as you're traveling in between lanes, I almost always like want to look to see what's going on in the other lanes. You don't really like need to watch your hero, especially if like Undying's leading. I just look at my minimap. If someone pops up on my minimap that I don't expect to be there, I immediately double tap one, go to my hero, and then see what's going on there. But oftentimes I'm checking like CS, HP, like people get magic wand and boots. All of these are pretty important. Razor also has early boots. Check how many stacks of Astral Viper has on him, only 1 stack right now. Check how much mana OD has. He looks like he has enough for a while, unless he gets really unlucky with Essensara procs. And then I just head on bottom because Bet has completely ditched the lane. I noticed that Visage was low HP earlier, and looks like he has gone to heal, so I'm not actually scared of just these two heroes, but I should be scared if all three of them are coming soon. And I'm just always looking around, trying to CS a little bit. I should probably put it on my player perspective. And then here's the TP, and you can hear Alchemist charges stun, and I'm like, oh no, I want to fog 8 as soon as possible. I try to run to the left to cut the fog, and they immediately switch to Febby. And it looks like he's gonna die here, but apparently he's super tanky, going with the Magic Stick, going with the Stout, going with the Gauntlets of Strength. So I think one of our teammates actually said something to him about getting the Gauntlets of Strength early. I actually could have skilled.
That's the first blood.
I actually could have skilled. Hold on, let me pause that. I could have skilled Wave of Terror here, but I actually don't have enough mana for Wave of Terror plus another stun. It takes 110 mana plus 40, so I think it would have almost guaranteed me a first blood. He has 11 HP, it would have done like 20 damage, but I wanted another stun, and killing a higher priority Alchemist is more important. And I don't have any mana, so I just want the little bit of extra damage from the Vengeansara. Almost always I'll skill Venge 1, 3, 1, or 1, 2, 1, 4, which is, when I say 1, 2, 1, 4, I mean level 1 Magic Missile, my first skill, a level 1. The 2 is what I get at level 2, which is the Wave of Terror skill, and then 1 is Magic Missile at level 3, and 3 is Vengeansara. So I'll go Magic Missile, Terror, Magic Missile, Vengeansara. So like 1, 2, 1, 3 is the standard build. It doesn't actually, when I say this, I don't actually mean 1 point in my first skill, 2 points in my second skill, although some people do use that. For example, some people say like 1, 1, 3, 1 build with Storm, which is different than what I'm talking about. So I guess to avoid confusion, I'll type 5 points. So max Magic Missile, 1 point in Terror, 1 point in Vengeansara. But sometimes you have to be flexible and just change according to whatever the game situation dictates. I think I suicided 2 neutrals. I'm 0-1, so I suicided neutrals because it's faster than healing. I still want to put a lot of pressure on OD. He's out leveled by 1 level, and I don't actually know that Warden is sitting up here, but they don't actually know that I'm invis too. He's actually trying to gank the same way that I am. And he uses Astral, so it's perfect go time. I know that he's level 4, so I go like almost as soon as the 2 seconds is over on the Astral Imprisonment. Unfortunately, Warden is there to get the kill on me, and Broussard is trying to kill him, gets fogged, and and dies, which is kind of funny, but that shouldn't have happened. Either he should have killed him, or he should have probably backed off. He was safe, and that's a good trade. The solo hero for the roaming hero, I don't have boots for a while, but since I do have 150 gold, I immediately buy wards, and I want to get wards up before nighttime because Visage has been moving around. He like left the lane earlier when he was low HP. He was just sitting up here for a good like 20 seconds trying to get a kill, so I want to protect my mid, and it's important that I get the wards up right now because during the night I don't know if I'm going to have the opportunity to do so. And then I'll like look at top lane. It looks like he's doing fine. He has phase boots. He has full HP. He's not that low on mana, so I don't really have to worry about him. And I'm trying to lay wards right now during nighttime. I'm trying to secure the rune at 6 minutes, and I'm looking around at what's going on around the map. And it looks like there's what, 2 heroes up top. I don't actually think I can say, but I don't know that this gank is going on, which is one of the reasons I don't actually like player perspective. You can actually see the heroes in a minimap that are supposed to be fogged. But notice my positioning as a support. Sorry, this gank just happened, but he tries to drop his tombstone on the Windrunner, and as soon as I hear him charging up his stun and he's stunned, I never want to stand in like this area. That's just like asking for certain death. Some people will be like, oh, you know, I want to stun the Alchemist so Undying doesn't die, but most likely he's gonna die. He's already charging up stun. There's acid spray dropped on the ground. He's shackled. He just got hit by power shot. He has magic stick charges and decay, so maybe he'll live, but it's a very, very low probability chance. So he throws the stun out. I noticed like my trajectory to stun him is like over here. I don't want to stand next to the Undying at all. You always want to watch your positioning. If I got hit by the stun too, we wouldn't have gotten that. We probably wouldn't have gotten a kill, and I would have just been forced to back off, and we would have traded 0 for 1 instead of 1 for 1. So your position as a support is like very, very important. And I almost have boots, and I get a little bit greedy, and I almost die. But lucky for me, I have GG branches. And I'm like, okay, screw this. I just want to buy my boots before I get to that horrible, horrible point as a support where you can't actually afford boots. So I just sell my thing, and I don't know if I died in neutrals now. It's about even, I'd say, but I still have mana for 1 stun. I want to harass this guy because he's still very, very poor. It's very important to try and keep Alchemist from under farm. Barely dodge a shackle shot, and it was probably a bad move for me, but I don't have any hits, so even if I die, then it's not that big of a deal. And luckily I dodged another power shot. I don't want to just click back on base just because it makes it too obvious. I'll take the shortest trajectory, which is this, and then I would have died a power shot. And then even going to this left one is like, okay, it's slightly predictable, so instead I try to go here. Going here is like a little bit less ideal because I can't juke anywhere in here. It's like pretty much a straight line. You can kind of hide in here, but I don't want to die. Level 5, I think like level 4 and below is about where like I don't want to suicide anymore, unless I don't have any gold. I think it would have been perfectly okay there since I didn't have any gold, but like always as I'm healing, I'm always trying to look around the map. Like I'm looking at mid right now, I'm looking at chicken, I'm seeing what bat has, how his farm is, how close he is to his blink, OD, his items, etc. And he stays up a little bit too close to creeps and dies. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a ward on my hill because he would have backed earlier, because I was just able to walk up there and stun him. So if I have sentry wards, I'm not going to place one there because I have to assume that the OD is a decent player, or else he would have dodged that gank if I had TP'd. So if you're on dewarding duty, you always have to want to try and think about how the opponent reacts to the movements that you make. If I TP, he immediately backs, I drop a sentry ward, and then I just call it a failed gank, but at least I get a deward. Clockwork is constantly shooting his rockets in different lanes too, so he's kind of like given up on the Razor. He shot one earlier to try and kill me, but I'm still trying to look around very, very often. I don't exactly know what just happened there since I'm trying to commentate, but I desperately need level 6. I've just gotten it. 9 minutes is actually pretty good for a support looking at the other supports in the game right now. Visage is still level 5, Windrunner is also still level 5, and Febby is level 5, so even though I'm 2 and 2 and I'm like been on dewarding duties and whatnot, I've still managed to keep decent levels even with 2 deaths. So Warden has finally dropped a ward in mid, but I don't actually know this yet. I do know that he only had 1 ward in his inventory before, and he dropped it, but I don't actually know what FXOFebby was doing. He was circling around here, but I'm just trying to leash experience. I don't actually want to get Astral because my mana pool is very, very limited. It takes 270 for all my skills, and if he max Astrals me, that's like all my mana. So as soon as he TPs, he backs. So I know they have a ward because this is almost the exact same thing that happened before, except Demon was the one that TP'd in instead of me. So I suspect that they have a ward over here, but they don't. So by process of elimination, I pretty much know it's over here because I had a ward up here, and I know Warden wasn't in this area to lay the ward up here. So I know that it's right here. I used 2 sentries, but it's definitely worth it to take that vision down in the middle. And now OD is like, he's in a pretty big curious position. He doesn't really feel safe in middle, and he can't really farm because he doesn't have any vision. So he's forced to stay over here. He's still very, very poor. If he gets like treads and mech very early, that's an issue. But luckily we've kept him down. Viper is doing much better than him in terms of CS, although experience is very, very similar. And we have decent vision. This one's about to go down though. As a support, you always want to try and keep like continuous vision. And if you have to overlap your warding by like 5 or 10 seconds, even 30 seconds, I've done it like a minute to 2 minutes before because I don't think I'll have another opportunity to do so, or just having the vision is that important. And looking from their viewpoint on the map right now, there's no one defending bottom, right? Or one person just TP. But before that, there was no person defending bottom. Alchemist like ran down here and scattered us out. So since we're not bottom, we all have to be either mid or top behind the Razor. But they don't actually know, since I dewarded their ward middle and Visage hasn't been to that many other lanes. I suspect that they have no idea where we are. So they're going to be playing very, very defensively. Because one hero's mid, one hero's top, we're likely not 5-man bottom, and we're likely just sitting behind one of these, or we're trying to gank behind tower on one of these people in middle. So I'm aware of what they think right now, so I just have to be a little bit careful. And they're in like a pretty good position. Warden is almost always there to counter me. And Demon actually calls for a TP here, so I let him TP in first, and then he can catch up with Blink immediately after, and then after that we can pull him in a tower and then take a fight 2v2 under tower. The third TP is going to take a very long time, so I actually die right here. They tell me not to run left. I didn't actually notice that all these heroes were coming bottom from mid. Even though I have the ward here, I was caught up during the heat of the fight, and I was just trying to not die to clock. But ideally I would have ran down here and not given them a free kill, but I was being very focused and didn't watch the mini map, so that was my fault. And I think my teammate said something, but I just kind of heard in the back of my mind because I was really busy with clockwork, so I shouldn't have died there, but that's okay. And then we see all of them retreat. We're like desperately trying to kill anyone right now because they've already lost 2 heroes and we outnumber them at this point 4-3, so they're desperately trying to run. We're just trying to engage, trying to catch anybody that we can, even though we don't have that many slows. And Demon doesn't have his lasso up, so that's about time to start running away. And right now I don't have any wards up, which is not good as a support, so I need to buy wards immediately. I almost always spend all my gold as fast as I can on a support, at least in the early game, because you don't have an opportunity to save up gold very often. And Undying plays a little bit more greedy than me. He has Urn and Magic Wand. But it's perfectly okay with me. These are pretty much your core items: brown boots, TP scroll, magic stick or magic wand, and then 3 slots for supporting items, usually a smoke and sentry and obs, although you can only have 2 if you just want to pass a smoke to somebody else, such as Bat Rider. So I need to get vision up right now, and like in my mind I'm like, okay, where has the action been happening? Has it been top like at all? No, it was just Razor free farming versus a clockwork for like the first 10 minutes of the game, and then people have rotated. So the main spots where action has happened is like in this mid screen, like very dead center of the map, and a lot of action has happened on bottom too. So I want vision of hot spots, which is where areas have been happening, and I also want vision like before it happens so we can prepare. So ideally I want to ward over like here so I can see if people TP, but I don't, it's daytime right now. I don't want them to know that I have a ward, so I'm going to try and place it from the fog over here. I'll like stand over here and place it, and they don't actually know that I placed a ward since I placed it from over here. You never want to give the opponents notice of where and when you place your wards. And I can see Warden right now. I have sentries. I can potentially see him ward too. I'm waiting for him to drop the ward up here so I can immediately deward it, but he doesn't actually place it. So I can see them going toward jungle right now, and we see 3 people, and it was really good timing on ward. Ideally I had it up like a minute before, but I was dead and I was poor and all this other stuff. So they initiate on Febby, and unfortunately the hookshot misses for them, which is a really bad initiation for them. And then now Batrider can just catch anyone off that he so desires. So he blink lassos Clockwork because of their failed gank attempt, and Bat really punishes like poor positioning. And I don't want to overlap my stun or swap with someone who was already lassoed, so I managed to pick off another striker like that. But if Demon wasn't there to blink and lasso, I would have hopefully been in position to swap. Unfortunately, swap is only 650 range. Blink has much longer range, so it's easier to initiate for him. But still, I'm always looking for opportunities like that. I wasn't actually watching what was going on top, but I do notice that people TP'd up there, and there's like there's a third TP right there, and we're all like kind of low. We don't have that much mana. I don't have my ultimate. Febby doesn't have that much mana either, but I tell my team right now, hey guys, let's push this tower. 3 of them are TP top. I look at the Viper, and he looks like he's dead because there's so many people, but we want to put pressure on this because we want to like get something in return for our Viper dying. So we get a little bit of damage on this tower. Ideally it would be a little bit more, but I guess it's better than nothing. And I just like, okay, well they're all rotating already. I don't see anyone on the map right now, and it's not a good time to be standing around. I also wanted to lay some wards out right now, and smoke is very good for doing that because they'll almost never actually see you place the wards. So again, I said the hotspots were in middle and in bottom, so I want to place a ward right below their tower. And Lampo, he kind of just feels out our gank on bottom because certainly he has no vision of us while we're smoked, and he goes very, very far using Force Staff to get in as opposed to pull someone out. And I could have killed Lampo at this point, but I'm very, very scared of dying. I don't actually want to give my life up for him right now. I've already used my Wave of Terror, and I don't believe I could have swapped him, but as soon as they're backing off, we just get a quick tower. I get hit by the rocket. Demon said his Force Staff was like just off cooldown, but unfortunately I die there. But getting reliable gold for the tower is always good, especially as a support. Ideally, one of your carries would get it, but it's much, much better than it getting denied. So as I'm dead, I'm looking around the map. You always want to be like doing something while traveling, while dead, just trying to make productive use of your time. Trying to see how many smokes we have left right now, checking our tower, checking our glyph duration, seeing if anyone is down there, seeing what Viper's up to, seeing if anyone's ganking him, and then now that I finally revive, I can buy an item. So I actually like bottle a lot on support. Yeah, sure, it's like 16 minutes in, I had 600 gold from the tower, but having bottle is really, really nice because it gives you a ton of HP and a ton of mana for not that much gold. So if you use 3 bottle charges, 400 HP, 210 mana, compare that to a Bracer, which is roughly the same. Bracer gives you 6 strength, which I believe is around 100 HP. So for the same amount of gold, you're getting like almost like 4 times the HP, which is 6 times 19, yeah, it's like 110 HP, so you're getting over 3 times the amount of HP for a very similar amount of gold. Granted, you have to like not be stun locked to death, but usually you can just back off and bottle. So bottle's actually much more effective for just pure HP. And in this fight, we managed to pick someone off because we smoked, and I want to go in and stun Warden, but I see this power shot coming up, and I don't actually want to get shackled into the tree down there and die. So I'm like kind of separated from my team right now, and I'm like kind of juggling around with him. But luckily I have this ward up here, so I can constantly scout his movements and just dodge around it. And with my bottle, I'm able, like, I've already used 3 bottle charges, so 3 bottle charges, 400 HP, I get around, I'm already back at full HP. You don't want to be just like a weak support that just dies to just some random AoE, like a random stray power shot, a rocket flare, a soul assumption, which is really low cooldown. If he has a lot of charges and sees a low HP Vengeful, he's just gonna kill it. Savings Eclipse even, just randomly get caught by unstable concoction because I'm caught out because I didn't know he has a Shadow Blaze, something like that. There's always like random stuff that you have to look out for, and being at maximum HP is always ideal. So I buy more wards. The one on bottom's expiring soon, about 1 minute time. This one's expiring in about 3 minutes time. But when I put up this ward, this T1 was down, and then Demon gets a very nice initiate right here. But when I put this one up, the T1 was down, and we're like slowly pushing up to their T2. So like the field of vision that we require is going to be different when the towers are down. So I dropped this outside of T2 because I want to see them TP. I want to see if they're moving to push up mid, which is very, very important. If we see them pushing up mid, we can react appropriately and perhaps even catch them off guard. For example, Bat can like blink up here, lasso them over here, and then bring them back if he suspects that they're up there. So this ward is actually very, very important, and this ward, this ward's usefulness has ended, but that's perfectly okay. We still got the tower out of it, and I was able to scout out the Windrunner with it. And I go over here to place this ward. I can't actually place it over here because their whole team's there. Unfortunately, I get it dewarded because they saw what I was up to. What exactly is Avenge over here going to do? Most likely place a ward, because most of the times that we initiate, it's a Bat Rider going in with his ultimate.
Somebody's cooking. How about that?
And Wave of Terror is actually HP removal. For those of you that don't know, this was kind of made to balance Venge. If you can actually believe that Venge was considered imbalanced at one time, it was one of the better stunners, and it would like take off salves and clarities. So instead of being magic damage, it ran H4. And rewind back about 10 seconds. OD. I can see OD at this point because he's just in field of vision, and I can see the positioning of his supports too. So it looks like he wants to. I'm like ready for him to go up to Astral. Someone looks like he wants to FXOFebby, so I'm in position to take advantage of the swap. He doesn't have Astral anymore defensively, so kind of a misstep by him by just being greedy, wanting another 10 intelligence so he can hit with like a bigger Sanity's Eclipse or whatever later and deny Undying some mana before a tower, which is reasonable, but not when we have a Bat Rider, not when we have a Vengeful Spirit that can punish you for being just slightly away from your team. So now that they have this tower down and the OD is down, we try and push, but OD is like very close to being up, and we have no mana on Viper, kind of like half HP. We do have a mech up though, but I think we decide not to push because Bat Rider isn't close to us. I don't exactly remember what he was doing, but he does have boost of travel. I hear a Clockwork ult today, and it looks like he barely missed. I don't actually think this Clockwork played very well. He missed a couple of hook shots, but that's just how it goes sometimes. We don't actually have vision of their jungler right now. I have one. I should have had one ward left sitting in my inventory. I don't actually know where I placed it. Oh yeah, I placed this one here and this one here. So we're just gonna have to make do without observer wards for a while, but we can still take over control of their jungle. And Lampo de-wards, but we still get lingering vision of him, like while he's going on de-ward. And Demon has been very, very good about punishing people who are out of position. That's what Bat Rider is fantastically good at. And we see Monkeys Forever on top. I have a haste rune and just going in for the swap. Level 2 swap's actually really good. So like what am I exactly looking to do with these swaps? Most of the time just looking to initiate, whether it's like Windrunner who tries to Windrunner away, whether it's someone coming up too close, like Windrunner trying to power shot a creep wave down while we're pushing. Alchemist trying to acid spray while we're pushing. Alchemist has like pretty much not been in many of the fights though. One of the supports trying to ward, OD just being greedy and going for creeps or an astral, anything like that. I'm looking to swap immediately because my life is, I think, worth any of theirs at this point. All I have is brown boost bottle magic wands, so it's not like my life is that important. And I ideally want to take out like the Alchemist or OD. Those are the big heroes. Vision is a big damage hero too, and again, punishing people out of position. We only see 2 heroes there, and Demon also punishes these people that are out of position. I don't actually know why they're only defending us 2. They should be like sitting way back here, and they should also have a sentry up here so that they know we don't have vision, but they're just getting a little bit sloppy at this point and just letting us initiate whenever. So I suspect that they have a ward up here, but even if they don't, I want to make sure that they don't know that we're up here, and that means that when they farm their jungle, they have to feel very, very scared. So I know what they think with a sentry ward, and I don't actually get the observer ward, but it still gives me useful information. Hey, they don't have an observer ward. Hey, they're probably not going to be farming their own jungle because they don't have any vision there. So that can kind of give me an idea of where they are going to be around the map right now. And another missed hook shot, but he does hit a double stun with the Alchemist, and I'm like looking over here, I'm like, oh man, this is looking really, really bad. And they have a sentry ward on him, so this is about time to back off. I could potentially swap him out right now, but I decided against it. I probably could have stood right here and swapped him out, but I actually didn't want to get caught out too. The worst situation that would have happened there is they catch him off and then they catch me off. I don't actually know if I saw the hook shot, so I'm like always scared of other people initiating me, whether it's like familiars like coming from behind and stunning me, whether it's just me getting caught by like a Force F Astral. I don't want to give unnecessary kills, and I kind of weighed that option as opposed to just saving him and potentially him escaping with his life. I'm really close to my BOTs right now. I don't actually know how I managed to get 2,000 gold. That like almost never happens as a support, but I think it's just because Demon has been dominating so much this game. So you always want to keep a track of your observer ward cooldown, and like as we're slowly taking control of the map, slowly pushing up into their base and like taking control of this area, I want to be able to like ward over here. I want to be able to ward over here. I want to get vision behind this tower as soon as possible so we can do Roshan and so I can see them coming. And sometimes you kind of just have to feel out smoke ganks too. Like I don't actually know when they're going to start smoking. They could be smoke ganking at any time, but that's just something that you're going to have to deal with. And as you grow as a more experienced player, you'll start to feel out smoking. Hey, 5 people are missing. Hey, I don't see them with my observer wards, but they're like getting desperate. They need to get kills right now, and the only way to do that is to catch us off guard as 5. So you can kind of feel them out later in the game, but having this ward up is pretty important. If I don't see them defend behind the tower, then I can kind of guess that they're all in this area, and they shouldn't stand close to the tree line because Bat Rider could just initiate along this trajectory, so they should be standing like way far back, and I think they are being better about it now. I suspect that they're over here, and Demon does too, and he's trying to look for someone, but look at their position, it's really good right now, and Demon is unable to find everybody, but that should just mean a very free tower for us, since we have vision. And then, now that Firefly's almost down, there's no real good reason to continue this push, at least not for the moment. We can just regroup, wait for Firefly, hopefully get a pick off with Lasso, and then we can take another fight. But Demon's over here, he's scouting them out, and if they want to fight in this position, it's really bad for them, because firstly, they don't have Glyph up, secondly, the tower was really low, it's at like 300 HP, and fourthly, they have to like clump around here when we're already in a position to kill them. That's but it's just a strength of that. I still don't know why people let them throw drafts, because this is ridiculous. I swap Viper out and I die. That's just what you have to do as sports in die for the greater good. And his life is way more important than mine. He's higher level than me. He's way more farmed than I am. And luckily I have boots travel, so I can buy back and TP back, but I don't have swap or else I would have definitely swapped that right there. And I probably would have died, and especially if I tried to move around and get cogged back, but it would have been okay. Because I'm still super poor right now. I don't really offer anything, so I think that 4-on-4 we're still much stronger than them, and I have a chance to still survive a fight even if I like swap someone in. It's not always the case that I'm going to die. So my swaps on cooldown looking for someone, and yeah, it looks like I'm probably going to die here, but still not that bad of a defense for us. I'm always trying to make the fight. Actually, please don't pause. Under the skin. I'm always trying to, like, if it's a 4-on-3 or 5-on-4 situation, I'm always looking to sacrifice my life for to get a kill, because 5-on-4 we only have a 25% increase in number on them, but when it's 4-to-3 you have 33% more people, and then once you keep going down 3 to 2, 2 to 1, like 2-on-1 is obviously much worse than 5-on-4. So the less people that they have in the fight, the better. If we trade 1-for-1, if one person was already down, so Alchemist was already down, I'm looking to make that number disparity even bigger. That's kind of a personal choice. A lot of people like to stay alive and be like, oh, we're stronger as 5 if they are as 4. But when I'm this underfarmed, I tend to be the opposite. And Demon has this really nice lesson here. He doesn't actually Firefly this tree down, and Lampo is kind of just stuck. I don't exactly know when he uses Force Stab. Maybe it was trying to run away from him, but it was a pretty nice one. And we have vision. We have vision over here, and I know that no one's over here. No one's been to this right side. No one's farming the left side too, and it's not really that risky for Razor to check in because he has a BKB, he has mech, he has drums, he has unstable current, so there's plenty of things that he can do to try and stay alive while we're there. And they try and go for like a low probability Roshan, but it's kind of easily scouted out because they're just out of options at this point. They don't really have any farmed heroes. They have a Shadow Blade on Alchemist, but that's about it. They don't even have a mech or an Oblivion Staff on OD, so the only way that we get back in the game is like smoking or just going for pretty much really long shots, which is trying to do Roshan, stuff like that. We'll get an easy Roshan, and that will very closely close out the game, but still my items are like almost always the same. I like Boots of Travel a lot because they can actually save me an item slot. I like it on carries as well as supports because I can get like sentries, obs, and smoke, and I don't have to worry about not having a TP at all. So I mean, it's very rare that you'll have that luxury, but even so, just brown boots, obs, sentries, and then TP scroll, and then just give your smoke to someone else. Like you can sell a Sout or whatever. But Demon finds another initiation pool. It's just a matter of time before this falls, since we have the ages at this point. Always looking for swaps in on people. And I just unload my spells and then just immediately back off because I want to live to fight another day. I want to be able to get another magic missile off. I want to be able to minus armor someone while Razor or Viper is focusing them. And now a little bit of fountain fighting going on. Also, when I push up into the base, I like placing sentries and obs. Reason I like placing sentries is so I can see if they have sentries. So since this is up, I know that Viper can't do safely unless they have a dust. And if they dust, maybe I can swap them out or something like that. And I know that they don't have a sentry to deward my Observer Ward too. So I just like pop an Observer down almost always as soon as the T3 dies, so I can get like a ton of vision. If you look at the vision right now, like I can see so far into their base with this Observer Ward. It's actually how good it is, especially with nighttime just hitting. It's pretty incredible. So having this uphill vision is like it just gives you such a big advantage, which is one of the reasons why having the T3 down is such a big deal. And I can swap them from this super far range because of this ward too. And the ward vision stays the same during daytime and nighttime. So like he's standing like right at the edge. Normally I wouldn't be able to see him, but with this ward I can, and we just get another easy kill. A couple of buybacks come out. You also want to have wards like, oh, that was a pretty nasty shackle. You want to have wards like as you need them. You don't want to be like, oh man, I wish I had an Observer Ward up their hill as we're pushing, and then you're like, oh, buy him on chicken, you have to wait for Crow to come all the way over here, and then right now the opportunity's over. They've already like come down the cliff, and I won't have an opportunity to place a Observer Ward probably for a very long time. So you have to have Observer Wards exactly when you need them, and just having them in your inventory, even though you don't exactly know where to place them, you'll find opportunities. And it's much better to have them in your inventory and not know where to place them than like be like, oh man, this is an awesome ward spot, and then not be able to place them. So try and keep that in mind as your support. Same with sentries. So you never know when you need sentries. It's like there's various situations where you're like, okay, maybe they're smoking here, I want to gain vision in case, or they just pop down an Observer Ward and you want to de-ward so you can do Roshan, so you can defend your T1 up this hill, whatever it may be. Maybe someone picks up a stray invisibility rune, maybe Alchemist just picked up his Shadow Blade. There's many reasons for wanting to there's many reasons for wanting to have Sentry Wards, and I'll almost always have them on me. And yeah, sure, they have an Alchemist, but even if they hadn't had an Alchemist, I'll most likely still carry Sentries around. So now we're just trying to close out this game. The goal difference is probably pretty large. I don't actually know who got the Aegis and died with it, but looks like that ship has sailed. That rider has Massive Madness, so he can drag people super fast with his ultimate. He has what, 420 move speed right now, 30% will put it on max, and he's gonna just make people go ridiculously fast. Odie doesn't have a Force F, so he's just gonna let him burn right out. But look at his speed. Alchemist is actually, I think, not that good of a carry if you can put a lot of pressure on him early. So, but going back to like the beginning phase of the game, we wanted to match up aggressive triple lane versus an Alchemist. Visage is really strong, but Windrunner is just like meh when it comes to support. So I think we pretty much like went all out with the triple lane with having Razor to sap his damage since he's melee. Ranged carries are very good versus melee. I think that's why Razor has been very popular recently, is because he can actually shut down melee's farm in triple lanes. And if Alchemist is as underfarmed as he is, it should be pretty easy to close the game out. So we're always trying to hunt the Alchemist down in the lane early, just match up against him, always trying to harass him with the cage, just right click, just thread a magic missile and initiate Razor with his static link, Viper with his constant harass too. So anywhere that Alchemist goes, we can try and shut him down. And I like Scepter on Venge too. I don't think I'll be able to afford it by the end of the game. But immediately as his tower falls, I cover my Tractor Sentry Ward just in case Alchemist tries to initiate. I rarely overlap stuns. Like, some people are like, oh, you want to burst him down as soon as possible with the Magic Missile, so you should Magic Missile him during the lasso, but then I don't think it's true. You want to wave a Terra as soon as possible because you want to get the minus armor on him ASAP, so that when people start right clicking him, they do maximum damage. But I almost always save my stun for like the last half second of lasso, so that they can't pop defensive cooldowns, whether it be Clockwork with his power cogs, whether it be OD with his defensive Astral Prism and or Magic Wand and or Mech if he has it, or Visage just like instantly summoning familiars and dropping on top of them, Windrunner popping Windrun, Alchemist popping Shadow Blade. I don't want any of those things to happen immediately after a lasso, so always try and coordinate your stuns. We just have this understanding, okay, Bet Rider, you initiate, and then I'll stun after, and if I see another opportunity, then I'll swap someone in. So that's pretty much how our team fight should go. So I think that Demon played very well. It was very easy as support to follow that sort of initiation, and when you have decent solo players, Viper got a kill on OD in mid, Razor got a kill on Clockwork on top, and that once they get one kill, it's very easy for them to sustain the lane, and then after that my job is done. But I think it was an overall pretty good draft by Broodstar too. Everything matched up pretty well. Razor versus Clockwork, our triple lane versus theirs, and Viper is pretty good versus OD. I think OD is actually pretty overrated. He like wins his lane, but he doesn't even win his lane versus every hero, and he's not a good comeback hero. If he gets behind like he did, and you just put a little bit of pressure on him, it was just me rotating there once or twice, then he doesn't really do that much. He doesn't really have any good AoE or anti-push. His Sanity's Eclipse is very bad when coming from behind, and he can't farm very fast either. So I don't particularly like OD that much, but some people do. It's well, that concludes Merlini Plays Dota 2, Vengeful Spirit Edition. This was somewhat of a lopsided game, but I don't have that big of a pool to choose from when I'm trying to pick support games. But here was one, and again, just make sure you try and keep constant vision up. Make sure you're there when needed. I'm like not creep pulling when I need to, because we have a very aggressive lineup right now. Like, we don't have a really hard carry, so just judging from the lineup, you could be like, okay, well, we need to get a lot of kills, and you need to create opportunities for your team. If that means going in and dying to swap, that's okay. If it means going in and stunning and dying and getting 1-for-1 kill, that's perfectly okay too. Because if we let them free farm, a farmed OD and a farmed Alchemist will beat a farmed Viper and a farmed Razor. So the point is to try and keep them very underfarmed, put up a lot of pressure, and just always fight. There are games to stack, but this is not one of those games to creep sack ancients, so blah blah blah. I can do them not like creep sack for Bat Rider so he can get a fast blink dagger. It's pretty much keep pressure on the lane so that Bat Rider can farm his blink dagger, and then once that happens, just go all out aggression. Like you rarely saw me usually. I think I killed like maybe like 2 or 3 just so I could get my boots of travel, but other than that I was always trying to be proactive, trying to babysit the Viper in middle, trying to go around with Undying and or Bat Rider killing people. So it always depends on the game as to whether you need to play aggressively or passively. But thanks everybody for watching. Again, this was the Merlini Plays Dota 2 series. I'm trying to have one every few days or so. Hopefully 2 a week is ideal. But if you like my videos, please subscribe to youtube.com/MerliniDota. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter for updates, all /MerliniDota. Thanks and have a good one.